from here to here. When I was 17, the boy I was dating asked me how much I loved him. I said, from here. He didn't get it. About 2 years later, 6 months after we had broken up, I sent him a text that said, to here. He still didn't get it. He couldn't understand that in that moment I was choosing to move on. He couldn't comprehend that in that moment, 6 months after we had broken up, I was choosing to stop loving him. He couldn't fathom that in that moment, 6 months after I caught him in bed with the fourth other woman, I was choosing to lock him out of my heart. For good that time. He couldn't believe that in that moment, 6 months after he broke my heart for what felt like the millionth time, but would also be the last time, I was making the conscious decision to stop loving him and finally start loving myself. In that moment, I was choosing to stop believing that the way he had treated me had been okay. That it was okay that he had cheated on me over and over. That the mean, nasty, horrible, and inexcusable words he had said to me were acceptable. That it was okay that he always told me everything was my fault. That it was okay that he made me feel worthless. That it was okay that he told me I was nothing and that no one else would ever love me. The sad truth is that I stayed with him because I was afraid. I was afraid because eventually I began to believe that I was lucky he loved me. I was lucky someone like him, someone so wonderful, had picked someone like me. Someone who didn't deserve to be loved by someone so perfect and amazing. He always said he was the only person who could ever love me, and when you hear someone say the same thing over and over, eventually you start to believe it. And it took me seeing him with the fourth girl that he betrayed my trust with, despite the countless times he apologized for the exact same thing and swore he would never do it again, and that they meant nothing to him because he loved me, that I realized something I had forgotten. I realized that it wasn't me who didn't deserve him. It was him who didn't deserve me. Someone like him who would use and abuse, who would take and break, didn't deserve someone like me, who continued to love and forgive no matter what he did. He didn't deserve the way I always came back to him time after time. He didn't deserve the blind faith I had in him or the way I loved him so completely and all-consuming. He did not deserve my love. But I did. I deserved to love myself the way I had once loved him. And it took seeing him with the fourth other woman that I realized it didn't matter if anyone else ever loved me. It didn't matter because the only person whose love mattered to me was my own. I was the only person who I needed to love me. So when I pressed send, and that little message with only 2 words was sent to the boy I had once loved, it was the end of me loving him. And the start of me loving me. I cannot erase him from my memories. I can't forget how he made me feel when things were good, but I also can't forget how he made me feel when things were bad. When I was crying on the bathroom floor or alone in my bed at night, he wasn't there. He couldn't mend my scars because he was the one who had caused them. There will always be a permanent stain on my soul from the boy I loved when I was 17. But from that stain, I've realized how strong I truly am. I've realized that my ability to love and forgive is not a weakness, but a strength. And if that isn't something to love, I don't know what is.